and I am now looking up an incredible piece by Mario, who is over here in very beautiful black. And yeah, we're excited to talk a little bit about Botto, but also just AI art and AI artists in general in your Crypto Voxels parcel. So very nice to be here with you today, Mario.
Thank you for having me.
I'll be without my beautiful CryptoPunk for this one, but hopefully you'll recognize that this one's from the fly, so you can tell which one's me. But very, very nice to be with you. And yeah, I mean, I guess first I'd love to just hear a little bit about your current project, Botto. And yeah, I've been tracking it over the last couple of weeks, and it's pretty mind blowing. So tell folks at the summit a little bit about it.
Well, first of all, thanks for having me. And I will probably do something stupid and fall down this ledge or so, because I'm not really well versed in the metaverse. But so if I suddenly vanish, then you know to find me on the floor.
We'll come and we'll drag you up.
But yeah, Botto is you could say it's my latest project, or I can say it's my project, but it's kind of the first time where I don't do most of the work anymore. So the Botto started, so very short. So Botto is a decentralized artist, AI-driven artist, who is controlled by all the shareholders that own shares of it. So it is, so at the moment I see it as a very unexperienced child that is currently only capable of using one algorithm, and if you've seen the art, then you know it's the popular clip versus VQ GAN, and it keeps on producing works. So actually, behind the scenes, it produces, I think, about 200 new images every day. And but it has not really. It has somewhat like a little sense of taste or knowing what it wants, but not really. At the moment, it's very open. So it needs the help of the community, and that help works by every day. Well, actually, not quite correct. So that's the thing when other people come in. So like every week, there's a certain amount of proposals kind of presented to the community, which then has to, in a kind of a hot or not fashion, has to decide which ones, they always get presented two proposals and have to kind of vote on one, or they can skip it. And every week, the most popular that has the most votes will then be minted and actually auctioned off on Super Rare. And so there are multiple interesting mechanisms in place. So first, by the voting, Botto starts learning kind of what its owners, its community wants. So it gets this feedback and will then train. Well, there's there's actually two places where the votes will count. One is in the generation process itself, where it learns kind of which topics, which styles, which themes the audience prefers, and the second one is in its own curation process, where between the kind of thousands that it produces, where it already makes the first pick which ones to present to the audience. And so, and that creates this whole feedback loop in which hopefully in the end, it will become better and better and keep on creating interesting work. And the other thing is, of course, that Botto doesn't get the money from every sale, but in a way it goes back to the community, because with the funds that come in from the sales, the Botto currency will be bought back for that amount and then burned. That means whilst at the beginning, I think there is how is it called, like 100 million, I think, Botto like coins. Over time, those will be become less and less. So the theory is, of course, that then the value of Botto will rise, and kind of everybody who has a share of it will kind of get their dividends, or kind of their investment will become bigger. And
interesting. And so, why not just, I don't know, for example, just fractionally give a sale to everyone who's part of the community that day?
Well, so now comes the thing. Okay, so this concept,
it's fascinating, the game theory, right? Like,
well, there's this whole because there comes the thing in where I'm not the only one making decisions. So like I wrote the first concept for Botto in 2018. I mean, so the general idea of having kind of an autonomous artist is with me since I started doing generative art. Like it's really like kind of.
And you're pretty much the first person I found to do generative art, I guess, back then. You're sort of one of the leaders of the whole space.
I don't know. I wouldn't say leader, but I'm a very early adopter, I would say. So, and I mean, so it's something that I have been doing for so long. And of course, and I think everybody who starts kind of writing these algorithms, that at some point you just have to press the space bar, then you think, okay, but now this thing can go on and keep on creating things. And then over time, you run into the problem that you see, okay, well, after 100,000 images, you kind of get it, right? So the system, you learned how the system works, and it stops being as surprising. So you need some element in there where it has room to develop. So it has to learn and has adapt like a human artist. So human artists also don't, I mean, some do, some find whatever their style and keep on doing that for the rest of their lives, like if it's very successful. But Botto is not supposed to do that. So Botto is supposed to evolve. And because, I mean, I don't know, in the art, it is also supposed to be a commercially successful project. And as we know, kind of, every exciting project at some point gets stale. Like, I don't know, there are now so many PFP projects, and then the next, and there's a bit of different style, a little bit different mechanism. So Botto will not kind of stay in its current state. And it's supposed to grow, and it will also kind of take into account new developments in AI that do not exist yet, where ideally, eventually it becomes more and more autonomous in the way it can upgrade itself. I mean, that's still my future vision, but I see that this might become possible, that at some point the AI engine behind it will be able to do the same things that I do, like look on Twitter, what's hot, are there any new models, is there new research, is there a GitHub repository I can clone, and I don't see it like that far away, that the machine can actually kind of do the same steps that I'm doing, and then run the code, see if it works, see how it, and of course then comes the point where it gets even harder doing what I do, not running the default code, but kind of extend it, make it better or make it different. But for a first step, I guess, at least for a commercially successful bot, and we can see that in the space now, that if a lot of the AI art is really just cloning the tutorial and running random numbers through it, and people buy that. So I mean, I don't want to go there, but it's a feasible way to give value to your investors. But I mean, I don't want to stop there. So I do have kind of artistic hopes that it becomes more than just being popular. So it also should stay interesting. Okay, but I was kind of going on a tangent, sorry. So fascinating. So
that's why I'm not walking around. Usually I walk around when we're talking, but this is just...
We can walk around, yes, okay.
Well, it's just but it's so intellectually stimulating that it's like, I'd rather just kind of stand. I mean, we can, one thing that might be helpful is this, I guess we should...
Oh, where are you? No, that's the camera.
I'm over here.
Okay, let's fly.
Is this, because I don't think this is obviously not a GAN generated piece, but just so that people can imagine what we're talking about.
So this is actually, the upper one is actually... something, I don't know, that must be from 2000 and
18.
I don't
I
know,
think I was
10
looking at.
or I don't know what it says. Actually,
It says
I didn't
2018,
read
but
the
maybe
text.
that's just
Don't
the
read the
building.
text. The text behind it is old. So this
Okay.
this was a Photoshop filter actually I wrote. So, but yeah, so if you look closely, it's kind of built from little invaders because I mean, as everybody.
Yeah, no, I thought it might be.
So yeah. So I wrote. Oh God, I forgot what it was called. There was a plugin for Photoshop, which was a node-based environment in which you could kind of program your own filters. So, and I built this one that could create these invaders, and then with the invaders, it would create them like based on a photo, try to match the colors, but using a limited color palette and stuff. So yeah, I just like the look. So it's more of a technical.
Whereas this one, I think, is a GAN, right? Or is that
the
right?
lower one is a GAN, yes. So the lower one,
just so that people can imagine, a little bit of some of the distorted shapes. I mean, I've looked at Botto, and some of them are like this, and some of them are completely different.
Well, for me, of course, this and Botto is very different because this is kind of a pix to pix kind of variant where I trained. Actually, I think this was already using my Hieronymus Bosch model, and then kind of goes through lots of steps and transformations and distortions and builds this new thing. So I don't know. Can I still go quickly back to Botto just to explain?
Yeah, no, I wanted to follow up to ask, see what you thought of that.
Because so, as I said, like I wrote the original concept 2018 before NFTs were really actually kind of a viable option. I mean, I think in 2018 the market was not really existent, and and I presented it as an art project to one of my patrons, and at that time he was not too convinced, so it landed in the drawer. And last year in summer, I thought, oh well, now with the NFTs there might be some way to actually make this working without. There you are. Without.
I thought you were just admiring your piece.
No. Yeah, I was just like, I thought like, well, I can. I see. I'm not very used to this thing. So anyway, so then I kind of presented it again, and this time he was really excited. And but I knew that in order to build this, while I can do the whole AI part and of course the whole concept originally that I had in mind, I definitely lack all the abilities to kind of build a front end, the back end, and of course the whole smart contract, and of course also the whole kind of community management, marketing that is necessary for a project of this size. And so in a way, I gave them my concept, and the only thing I kind of keep is that currently I'm the keeper of the AI. So, and in a way, then now a lot of things that are happening are kind of are just happening without me. So it's not, I'm not even part really. I mean, I'm kind of in the loop, but I don't know, when there are certain decisions being made, that's actually not my domain.
Well, I'm curious. I mean, that sort of makes sense for the decentralized approach and for people kind of voting on which piece. You know, are you also curious about how taste will evolve from the community?
Well, I'm a bit afraid.
Yeah, right, exactly. Because you're an artist who's
I can see what's happening, and I can see the votes, and I can see what people like, and like which one of the currently presented ones people kind of like a lot, and which they don't. And I must see that a lot of the things that I find interesting are landing on the kind of on the back positions. But I mean, that's
this is what's fascinating as an artist, right? Like how? Because I've been wondering about how the decentralized approach works with art, because you're supposed to be a fierce visionary. And will the crowd just choose something very generic, or will they just choose something very easy? Or do you know what I mean? I'm curious.
No, of course I know. I mean, the point is, so I see, like, I've been doing this whole generation process, like for, I mean, I don't know, like 30 years. So I know how exciting it can be in the beginning, and how everything looks great and fantastic. And I also know that, like, maybe I'm particularly kind of sensitive. I don't know, but I'm getting very quickly bored of certain things. I don't know how quickly people will get bored with this. So, and so I'm happy that like I see the Discord chat and people really like what they see. And so I'm just worried that after a while they see, like they will say, oh, but this looks almost the same, but maybe they won't. But that's also okay. So that's exactly part of the experiment that I mean, I do not do micromanagement. So, I mean, I have to make sure that the whole learning process and maybe the way it extends for now is kind of keeping enough possibilities open. So that's kind of the tricky part. I don't want it to quickly to fall into a certain kind of trap and then just keep on doing like almost like a local minimum where it's then doing kind of nice things, but it could go higher. So, and that's also something where, at least for the moment, I still have to kind of keep control over it. But I think we said like in 6 months, the kind of like now we are in this grace period where we also have to figure out like if all the assumptions we made in the kind of how this thing will work are kind of working out, or if people are kind of finding ways to game the system that is kind of so. But after 6 months, then the governance will kick in, and then it's really up to the shareholders to make decisions that affect kind of the entire system. And so, and except if they like, I mean, of course, I'm a kind of still have quite a few shares, but in the end, that will be very interesting to see. And that's of course also where I have to make sure that I don't get sad when people decide to take it in a direction that I don't like. But in the end, it's really like a child. So in the end, at this point, you can try to give it a lot of values and kind of just try to steer it in the right way, have the right friends. But at some point, it's on its own. And,
well, it's a child where the parents are very financially motivated.
Yeah, well,
the child
that's the thing.
to get smarter and
kind
to
of
do
also
better,
where
I'm
where it's very important that I don't have a say, because I don't know. I'm not sure if you follow the way I kind of act in the crypto space, I could say, or how I mean, I really like kind of the space, but I also don't like certain aspects of it, and that's kind of the heavy marketing and shilling, and that's something that I don't really like. And so, and that's what I personally would never really do. But well, if Botto needs it, then it's fine, and then I so that's why.
And also the community can take it over after a while.
And so, and in the end, that's where it gets interesting, right? So also the community has to figure out for themselves, kind of like they might have certain ideas what things work and what don't, but they will also just see in the outcome if their ideas, like I don't know, how to maximize the sales or something, if they work out or not. So it's
what I find fascinating is that you've created the financial game theory so that they are motivated to obviously do things that work. But then, just like any artist who hits on something that works and then faces the temptation to just churn out a lot of them, then they can repeat themselves and kind of, do the same thing. And then they can be caught flat-footed when the market shifts. So the hope would be that the community can kind of, there are enough long-term thinking members of the community who also get bored and say, well, we've repeated ourselves here, like we should really be thinking about what's next. And, that game theory is going to be fascinating, so that they don't just, it's not just short-term thinking, that they really innovate as artists.
Yeah, so I hope that, and so I guess we will all learn along the way kind of what works, because I don't know.
Interesting.
I think it's kind of like, I hope it hasn't been done like this already. I mean, the thing is, of course, that it's not the first kind of, how you call it, like they are autonomous, decentralized artists, right? So there are other projects in the space as well, and so which is fine, because in the end that will also be interesting, kind of when in the end it's only bots and they kind of each other optimize themselves, and And yeah, we are standing by, and hopefully we have shares in them. So because they might become better at selling the art than human artists. I don't think so. I mean, I think human artists still have kind of more interesting personal stories, which are part of it. But so yeah, that's kind of why I loved, like, wanted to see the project, because there are so many different things I'm curious about how it will develop.
Have you been tracking Holly Plus at all? The kind of synthetic voice project?
No, actually,
I think you find it fascinating. She's another speaker at the Virtual Being Summit, and it's an auction for a synthetic, for her voice as a synthetic voice, and then a DAO can kind of choose to put songs on the album. People can create music with the synthetic voice, with her synthetic singing voice, and you can kind of pretend to be her. So it's a little different in that she's already an established singer, and you're sort of pretending to be Holly. But I think there's a lot of fascinating possibilities with AI and art that are coming out with Botto, with a lot of other pieces that are super exciting.
Yeah, I see them somehow as another extension of kind of augmenting our creative abilities. So let's say previously it was, let's say, what is it, like Instagram photo filters, or kind of these, God, I'm not even using these apps, but whatever, these chat apps that turn you into something like, and so, which is also kind of like, you might not be able to build that 3D thing yourself, but you might be able to puppeteer it. And then now you might not be able to create kind of GAN art or something, but you can kind of remote control it or have an influence on it. So it's like a lever where you don't have to kind of do all the lifting, but so there's kind of, you are still in somewhat in control. I mean,
and so let's say we're sort of, I mean, I realize part of the point is that it's totally open, but let's say we're kind of 2 years from now, and you're sort of looking out on the horizon of what is potentially coming with artificial intelligence. What are some of the things that you're excited about that could apply to Botto, but could apply to other areas of your art? What are you excited about?
I guess at some point, I believe that Botto might even get its own, maybe not voice, but its way to communicate. Of course, right now
that's so interesting.
But I mean, I'm somehow thinking it could kind of almost become part of the, let's say, start in the Discord channel, and then
I love
speak with people, and by doing this conversation, kind of, it could get ideas. So it could, like, people can suggest things, and then it might be even, I don't know. So we all know that kind of this is always a dangerous thing, but so we don't want to have another, what was it, Tay or so?
Yeah, exactly.
There's always danger, but so for me, I really believe that in order for this system to grow, it needs to connect with the world. And it needs to get input, and also in order to stay current with a changing world and what topics kind of people want to see, want to hear about. So some kind of even more interfacing with the world is something that I definitely would like to see. But yeah,
I'd like to see that too. That's so fascinating.
I mean, what else? I mean, I can see that it does not, I mean, just like I am not limited to generating just images. Of course, let's start simple. It could start creating, like, okay, the simple thing, animated GIFs or little videos, or I don't know, maybe it even wants to do sound at some point. So I mean, this is kind of really not very current. It's just where I say, like, if this works, or maybe it gets a child, like it has its own child, right? So it could, I mean, actually in the original concept, the idea was also that it's not kind of a single bot, but it's actually multiple, and each has its own character. So just for the sake of doing things kind of like getting things done. So at the moment, so there's only one Botto, but yeah, that's another option is that kind of Botto is actually multiple different characters, and then maybe each of them develops its own kind of personality and maybe signature style. So that would be a way to kind of deal with the kind of. So now Botto could kind of do like 20 different recognizable styles, but maybe it's better to say, okay, this is son of Botto and this is daughter of Botto. And this is
interesting, and they have
Botto.
different approaches.
And but yeah, so actually, so my original concept was much more complex. But if you ever want to kind of build something realistic in a realistic time frame, you have to first focus on the basics. And so I'm happy that we have that now. But and now, of course, the community comes in too and has wishes and ideas. So that definitely will also, will obviously be kind of an important part in the input where things are going. So.
So does the bot token already exist, or the Botto token already exist? Like, is that already something people have? Because I've more been looking at the art. I hadn't realized that the token was already out there.
It's out there.
I need to start hoarding. Hoarding it.
Actually, maybe today is a good day. No, I don't know. So, but yeah, it has been like, because you need the Botto token in order to get voting points. So the way it works, there was this initial airdrop where kind of, again, I was not even deciding who gets a free airdrop.
Thanks a lot. Where was my free airdrop? Thanks, Mario.
Yeah, I don't know. It looks like you collected the wrong collectible. So, I also was thinking,
I did have that collectible. I remember now. I do remember seeing the airdrop because I have a CryptoPunk, so I'm sure I'll look it up.
Did you claim the airdrop?
I guess I didn't claim the airdrop. I guess.
You can still claim until
I can still claim it?
January.
Oh, that's right. Okay, all right. I'm doing it. I'm in.
And because the mechanism is you need to stake Botto in order to get voting points. So when you stake it, then I think the first time you stake it, you get 100 votes. And then only by your votes you can kind of steer the bot. And at the same time, as long as you stake, you kind of your voting points will replenish based on how much you have staked. And so yeah, it's out there. And I think the one Botto is I don't know. I didn't check. Like when I checked this morning, I think it was at 95 cents or something like that. So it's
wow. And there are 100 million, you said.
Yeah, I don't know. So cool. I don't know, but it's currently it's going up and down. There was kind of it went up quite quickly, I think, to 160, and then people with the airdrops. Of course, there are a lot of people said, "Oh, cool, free money," and then they just. But it recovered, so it's horrible. Now, in a way, I have a stock market ticker for. So I have to say it's not mine; it's Botto. It's still. I'm still tempted to look at kind of, because, of course, it's kind of a measure of trust and popularity, right? So you can really follow it along. It's a new experience.
I know. It's just there isn't a stock market for artists yet, so this could be. Could be it. Well, Mario, this is totally fascinating, and I super appreciate you taking the time to chat. This is probably among the most mind-expanding of all the talks that are at the summit. So thank you very much for taking the time.
Well, thank you for having me. Yeah, it's actually, it was great to have the opportunity to talk about it. I think I haven't so far, except for a part. Yeah. So yes, thanks a lot.
I think it's super amazing, and I'm excited for the potential multimodal stuff and this character being able to talk one day, or just the ideas and the brainstorming is just it just makes your mind kind of go nuts. It's so exciting. Thank you, man.
Thanks so much.
Yeah, thank you for joining us. All right. Well, we're going to move on to the next session.
I don't fly.
And I'm going to leave Mario here.